Hi guys, I'm back again to do another instructional video. It's been a while, so I figured I have some time and I wanted to cover certain things which I frequently get asked. So I don't know if you remember, but back in November when we had the presentation of the new car, the T4'20, I had a live chat on the X-ray page, and I covered certain areas and questions about the new car. For example, I spoke a bit about the flex options, what flex options are available for the new car, and I touched on that a little bit, but I didn't really go into it in detail, and some of you might not remember, so I'm going to explain a bit better in this video. So to start off, the car comes with either carbon or aluminium chassis plate. For example, this car here is my carbon car. It's ready to go. It's an asphalt car. Carbon is the primary choice for asphalt racing, unless the grip is crazy high, like for example indoor asphalt sometimes can be really high grip, or if the track is really heavily sprayed, then sometimes the aluminium flex chassis can be a good option for asphalt, but carbon is our primary choice for asphalt racing. And then obviously for carpet, the first choice is the aluminium flex chassis, which has the cutouts here in the middle. And this is the best all-around chassis for carpet, for low to medium to high grip carpet. It works on all carpet tracks. However, we also have the full solid, or salad as we call it in the US. The salad chassis is much stiffer because it has no cutouts in the middle. It's also a bit heavier than the aluminium flex, so it keeps the CG lower. The main benefit of this is that the car is more stable, which is useful for CRC black carpet racing, which is popular in North America. So for CRC black carpet, this seems to be the first choice, especially for the RC America team drivers. But we've also found that for certain tracks with lower grip, the solid chassis actually works very good if the track's bumpy, because the solid chassis is more stable over the bumps, so it actually absorbs the bumps better and makes the car stay flatter and a bit easier to drive on bumpy tracks. So that's one thing you can keep in mind. And if you move on to top decks, with a carbon chassis, I recommend the kit 2mm top deck, which comes with the car. But if you're using the aluminium chassis, either of the two, I definitely recommend the optional 1.6mm top deck, which is a bit thinner. And the reason for using this is that you get back some of the flexibility at the top of the car, which you lose from using the stiff aluminium chassis. So it's the best compromise for aluminium chassis. It's the 1.6mm top deck. One thing to keep in mind is that for the T4'20, we don't use any shims between the bulkhead and the top deck like we have on the old cars, on the previous cars. So we don't use any shims to raise the top deck up, and that way we keep the flex a little stiffer, which we found that when you raise the top deck up on this car, it just makes it a bit too soft and makes it lose a bit of reaction, especially on quick direction changes. So it just becomes a little too soft and loses some reaction. So definitely the best option on this car is to not use any shims under the top deck. That's good general advice, I feel. The car comes with several options for the top deck flex. So for example, on my car here, I have mounted the bearing, which is the medium flex option, which is something in between using nothing and using the bushing, which you see here. The bearing obviously maintains the stiffness in this direction, but still has some give from left to right. And using the bushing makes it full stiff, which is a popular choice for stock classes. For stock racing, the stock team seems to like to use the bushing to make the car stiffer, as they feel that you can get on throttle earlier out of corners with the bushing, so the car is a bit more forgiving and you can drive the car harder. and yeah, I mean, you lose a little bit of rotation with the bushing. That's why for modified racing we tend to use the bearing most of the time. I would say for 90% of the time we prefer the bearing, which is mounted on my car here. And it's rare that we use nothing. Like, you can remove it to make it full soft. That will be the most aggressive, like the most rotation that you can get out of the car, but it will also be the hardest to drive. So I don't recommend using nothing. Moving on to the T-brace. This optional part, which we refer to as the T-brace, is mounted at the rear part of the car, right here, right where the speedo is, so on the bottom of the chassis. The T-brace is very important on the T4'20. Why is it important? It's because it maintains stiffness in this area of the car where there's nothing. I mean, on the old car, for example, the T4'19, you had a motor mount here. On this car we have nothing here, so it's very flexible here, and the reason why it's important is to maintain stiffness in this area of the car. And the T-brace has 7 screw holes, so you can use screws in 7 different positions, and obviously this gives you a big tunability, big range of stiffness that you can use. And this is very sensitive, so you can change this quickly and get a big effect, big result from the change. And as you can see on my car here, I have a screw mounted in this front hole, and I have a set screw mounted in this hole. So the set screw here makes it a little softer around this area, but it still has the benefit of the T-brace. So it's something in between using a T-brace and using nothing. But if you need a bit more rear stability, a bit less rotation to make the car more stable on direction change, you can put a screw there, and you can even use the screws on the sides. When you use the screw on the side, you need to add a 0.5mm shim underneath the T-brace on the side. A lot of people asked me how do you fit the ESC capacitor to the car, and I just stick mine on top of the T-brace here. It doesn't really do any harm. You just stick it with double-sided tape on top of the T-brace on the side. So that's not an issue at all, because obviously it's difficult to fit the capacitor here in the middle because there's wires and the belt is gonna be very close to it. So that's why I like to mount it here on the side. The T-brace also comes in brass. So for example, if you're looking to add more weight to the car, especially to the rear of the car, you can use the brass T-brace, which is another option part. And finally, I'm going to talk about the servo mount. If you're using a BR1 servo like myself, it has an integrated mount, which makes the car a little stiffer than a normal servo mount would. So especially in this part of the chassis here. That's why sometimes I remove the third screw of the servo mount to make it just a little bit softer on here, which gives the car more flexibility around the servo, and this actually helps to give you more mid-corner steering. So keep in mind that the BR1 servo is a little stiffer than the regular type servo mount, and this has a lot of benefits, and by removing this screw it actually gives you really great feeling and precision. But I'm going to present another option part, which is the forward servo mount, as you can see here. And what is the difference with this servo mount? The difference is that the servo is still in the same place, but the mount has been flipped over basically. So the mounting point for the servo is in front of the servo. You mount it here with 2 screws instead of 3 screws at the back. So when you move the flex point on the chassis to these holes, you remove all of these screws, obviously you move it to here. When you move the flex point forward, you make the car actually feel a bit stiffer on the track. So it gives you a bit more initial steering, makes it feel more precise, and basically only benefits from using this servo mount. So it has been really popular among the team drivers and also among customers. So I can really recommend this part. It really improves the feeling of the car, both for carpet and asphalt. So can really recommend this part. Other than that, I hope that I've covered all the important areas of Flex. And yeah, as you know, Flex is always extremely important and very sensitive. So it's something we use for tuning, and we need to understand it as well as we can. So if you have any questions, feel free to comment on the video or message me. And yeah, thank you for watching.